Right, good afternoon everybody. Are you enjoying the show? Yeah. My name's Andrew Talbot. I've had a long association with BTC providing technology services for them. And what I wanted to talk to you about this afternoon is how technology is changing the way we market our products. So the good news is it has never ever been easier to market your business. The bad news is if you went to marketing college about 10 years ago, almost all the tools you learnt about are now obsolete. So the world is changing very, very quickly. I think I went to do marketing about 20 years ago when I started, and I think virtually every technique that I learned 20 years ago is now not relevant. So let's just have a quick look at how technology has changed the way we market our businesses. I guess the dominance of Google is one. I mean, I first used Google in about 2002, 2003. So Google has probably only been in prominence for about a decade. Can I ask a question? How many letters does everyone write each day that get posted? Or when was the last time you wrote a letter that got posted? Email has become the dominant communication method. The evolution of websites, I'm kind of presuming that there wouldn't be a business here that didn't have a website. And a website probably is the #1 marketing resource for almost every business out there. The emergence of social networks. I mean, I must admit I was a bit behind the time with social networks. I didn't get involved until about 2009. But now, certainly I'll talk about it very quickly later on, because we're splitting the presentation into two bits. My colleague Ian down the front is going to do the second half of the presentation on SEO. So, any of you twittering today? Any of you tweeted about the event? There is a hashtag for those of you that are into that kind of thing, and I'll explain briefly what they are later on, which is BTC Group Live. So if you look on there, you'll find a few of us have been putting comments on, and there's been a few exhibitors and visitors that have already put comments on. And a hashtag is quite an interesting thing that we'll talk about. And then we're going to talk very briefly, because it's a lot of my day now. We build a lot of apps and things, and you can see the BTC Group app there, which can be downloaded by simply zapping the QR code. The increased importance of the mobile channel. And some people then say, well, how does that affect promotional merchandise? Well, I'd ask yourself one simple question on that. What is one of the best ways to get people to click on a website link is actually with a bit of promotional merchandise sitting on a mug, on a mouse mat, on a pen. So putting things like URLs on promotional products has become a very key way of driving traffic to websites. So let's just take a quick look at the impact of mobile. Most analysts all agree the same thing, that by 2015, 65% of all internet access will be on a mobile device. Now that doesn't just mean iPhones and things like that, it does mean things like iPads. Tablets are going to come more and more into it. If you like, the Android tablet now starts at just under £99. So you can get one of these devices and you can access the internet for, wander around with it for under £99. You're going to see them on the front of your fridge. I've already seen people in restaurants taking orders on them now. I was in Paris a few weeks back, and the restaurant were just taking their orders in a little French cafe on one of these things. So we're going to see these more and more. So it's fairly factual. 2015, 65% of everybody accessing your web content will be doing so on a mobile device. There is now as many smartphones, so iPhones, Android phones, etc. in the world as there are PCs. Would there be anybody listening now who hasn't got a phone they can access the internet on? Many? No? I mean, it's normally, nobody's putting their hand up, but that's probably because I've got the microphone and you haven't. However, what we generally find at these type of presentations now, 95% of people have got a phone they can access the internet on. So you've got to consider your content. We'll talk a little bit about QR codes in a second, but the big mistake I see with QR codes, which happens all the time, is people have a QR code that opens a normal web page. So when you scan it from a mobile device, you get a page that people can't read properly, that they have to scroll over and use their fingers to expand, and that kind of destroys the experience. So if you're going to use mobile, you've got to make sure that your content works on mobile. And a little tip on that is that 80% of people that have a smartphone use apps. Only 20% of people that have a smartphone browse the web on it. So at the moment, apps, be it iPhone apps or Android apps, are way, way more used than, say, native content, mobile web pages. And the beauty of that, if you think, oh God, apps will cost a fortune to develop, those of you that are interested, there's something called App Maker, which is APPMAKR, so there's no E on the end, .com. You can create your own iPhone app in that for free. So it's worth having a look at that. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. And part of what I do, and if you want to chat afterwards, I'm just the first one round the corner, and I'll show you some easy ways to make apps and things like that. And this is one thing that I think is staggering. The App Store's only been around since 2008, and it is the 4th biggest search engine in the world. So in terms of volume of searches, the App Store is the 4th biggest search engine in the world. That's presuming that you count Yahoo and things, and I'm sure Ian will talk more about the search engines in a moment. So has everyone seen these little blotchy codes? If you scan that one on there, you'll get iTunes come up and to download the BTC app. If you scan that one on there, you'll get a mobile web page that gives you tips on marketing. These are like being able to put a hyperlink on a bit of paper. So they're actually, almost every single smartphone now either comes with or you can download a QR code reader. If you look in the national press now, you'll see these little blotchy things on more and more pages, maybe every other page. If you walk and look at the posters as you walk down the road now, you're going to see these on every other page. Tesco in Korea recently launched a shop that was entirely QR codes at a train station. So commuters in the morning would come along with their phone and say, scan, you have to be careful here, not to walk too fast from the microphone. Scan, and they would order their shopping as they walked down the platform by scanning QR codes. So these things are very, very useful. And obviously, the relevance to where we're sitting today, think of promotional products. Virtually every single promotional product you see in this hall could have a QR code on it. So it's like being able to put a hyperlink on a bit of paper. And have you all heard that quote, half of my marketing is wasted if only I knew which half? Well, you kind of do now, because with a QR code you can see when people have scanned your content. So lots of the QR code providers provide analytics. So you could actually say, you could almost calculate the value of a promotional product over a year by working out how many times it had been scanned. So you could say this product was seen by 1 million people, but actually was scanned 50,000 times. So it would give you a real, return on thing. And I can see these being used more and more. I see these with event companies now. Have you seen them when someone's at an event and they've got a QR code on the back of their T-shirt? Or, you give out a giveaway? I mean, I know Ian's going to talk about them a bit more. So I think the ability, and the great thing about a QR code is they're not just for scanning a web page. So when you scan, if I scan that, immediately iTunes will come up on my phone and it will prompt me to download the app. I could equally put a V card on there. Do you all know what a V card is? It's like an address book. So when I scan that, it would automatically put my full address book into your phone. I've got that on my counter. If I wanted to show you directions to my premises, I could scan a card and it would bring the Google map up on my phone with the map to my premises on it. If you want to make a telephone call, the best one I saw the other day was in London. I was looking at an advertising hoarding, and I walked past that advertising hoarding and it said scan to book a test drive of the new Vauxhall or whatever it was. Scanned it and it brought up, it actually started ringing the dealer. So it was using geographic phone numbers to ring the dealer. So to actually make a telephone call, you can use it. So scan it and it'll immediately call in your phone. So call now, scan. Email now, scan. Text now, scan. All of those things work. And my favourite one that I've started using is calendar entries. So if you were running an event, you could say scan this tag to put the event in your diary. They are incredibly flexible and they can be